we will be short, no? And I've chosen a meditation from the early letters of Chiara, taken from this book, Early Letters, kabalo mo nga. These were letters written by Chiara to many people, no? Especially yung mga friends niya, mga paring nakilala niya, no? In the early times, no? Even before the movement started, no? You know that Chiara understood first something from within her, the call of God in 1939 pa, no? And then, but it doesn't mean that there was no what do you call it? There was no inspiration then. No, there was already an inspiration coming from God. No, the light that has entered and penetrated her soul. This is why when she returned to her city after that famous trip to Loreto, she was also able to communicate, no, to her friends, no, the inspirations she had of God. No, of course, it wasn't clear yet to her what was this, but in these letters that were collected and put into a book, manifests how much already in the early times Chiara was communicating. These were proof. No, these letters were proof that she has been given a gift by the Holy Spirit, which we call the charism. No, she has been given this gift, and she did not keep it to herself, but she gave it to many, no, to her friends, to her family, to the people who encountered her. No, one of these letters was written. This letter that I am going to read to you was written in early 1944, no, to some young people who were involved, no, in the Franciscan youth group. No, they call it then in Trent the Franciscan Third Order. No, they were not sisters, they were not nuns, they were not, no, but they were part of a group of lay young people who were being nourished, no, by the Franciscan friars. Chiara was their leader, and she writes to them. No? So, the topic of this one, the title of this one is God Exists. Live for Him. So, this must be one of those powerful. You will hear, no, how much Chiara is on fire with that discovery of God, who is love, and she communicates it so powerfully. She writes, Ave Maria. My dearest sisters, I would like to be next to each one of you, speaking with my heart in my hand. Now you can imagine, I speak with my heart in my hand. No? With the delicateness of God, telling you in words that cut to the depths of my soul what is taking place in my heart. Sister, she addressed them, sisters, di ba? So usually sa parish, no? Brother, sister, yung ganun, no? So it's very common, no? Sister, beautiful soul, also for you, the Almighty has marked out a plan of love. No? So sabi, also you, Jeb, also you, Danilo, also you, EJ, no? God has marked out a plan of love. No? So she was addressing in 1944, but she is also addressing it to us now. No? You too can live for something great in life. Believe it. God is in you. God is in you. Your soul in grace is a focal center of the Holy Spirit, the God who sanctifies. So, it is there where God tells us what to do through the Holy Spirit. And it is the Holy Spirit that sanctifies, that makes us saints, that pushes us to do good, to perform acts of love. It is the Holy Spirit that resides there. Look inside you. Search for God, your God, who lives in you. Very often, we are so much distracted, no? Especially now, no? By social media, by many things that we read, by many things that we see outside. Pero Chiara invites us, look inside you. Search for God from within, who lives in you. And very often, we forget this. No? We fall into the temptation of, parang everything that surrounds us gives life. And yet, if we look at inside us, no, it is this God who lives in us that gives life. And the things of the world offers death. Oh, if you only knew whom you have within you. Kung alam nyo lang kung sino yung nakatira dyan. Kung alam lang ninyo. If only you would leave behind everything else for Him. No? Iwanan nyo lang sana lahat para sa Kanya. Oh, if only you would turn over to Him your life, which is brief as a sunset and escapes you with the passing of every new day. Have you watched a sun setting? Mm-hmm. Just in a glimpse of eye, it disappears. Yeah? Very fast. So Chiara says, you are young. And we have only a very brief life here on earth. It can pass away anytime. Especially now, no? Even young people die so early. With many, of course. No? With sickness, sometimes they commit suicide. No? Sometimes they are killed. No? Sometimes, I don't know, with sickness and all these things. No? But let us not, or rather, let us focus. No? Let us focus on God. If only God reigned in you and every power of your soul and body were a servant in the divine service to the King, to this King. Or if only you love Him with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul. So, Chiara started, focus there. If only you know who lives there. And if you discover, you will live for that. You will live. You will give up everything for that someone who lives within. Then you would fall in love with God and you would go through the world announcing the good news. Diba? We made an experience, I think, all of us, when at a certain point, siguro, after a Gen meeting, after we met the Focolare, we started sharing something. Diba? So, when you share something of that discovery from within, that is what Chiara calls good news. But what do we announce in our experiences? It is summed up in this: God exists. Live for Him. This is the good news that Chiara refers to. Huh? So, you tell everyone your discovery of God's love, that God exists. Live for Him. God will be your judge. Live for Him. God will be everything for you in a few years after this brief life is over. She would always refer to the brief life. Maiksi lang ang buhay natin dito sa mundo. Throw yourself into Him. Love Him. Listen to what He wants from you in every moment of your life. No? Very, very striking to listen to what He wants from you in every moment of your life. we prefer listening to something else. And we enjoy. Hanggang pagtulog natin, meron pa tayong nakalagay dito. Because we want to listen something that will entertain us, that will make us, feel peaceful. No? And yet, Chiara directs us to where we are supposed to go. Listen to what He wants from you in every present moment of your life. It means every moment. God can tell us something in every moment. Do it with all the enthusiasm of your hearts, consuming all your strength in this divine service. No? With enthusiasm. And then Chiara continues. Fall in love with God. Fall in love with God. I don't know, you are young, no? And I think in one way or the other, your eyes, no? One day were focused on someone, that when this someone passes by, your heart beats so fast. No? Diba? And I still recall, no, when I fell in love with my classmate, no, and I started telling her, "Will you be my girl?" And every moment I want to see her. Every memories that I could gather of her during the day, I would gather them and treasure them in my heart. And I think it was one of the most beautiful period of my young life. That feeling of having someone special that I would see every day, that I would be in the classroom every day, that I can chat with, that I can tell something special, to eat in the canteen together, to bring her to the boarding house. That was something so beautiful, no? But then Chiara says, fall in love with God. Fall in love with God. There are so many beautiful things on earth, like that one I experienced. It's a beautiful thing, diba? It's a beautiful reality. Many beautiful things. God is more beautiful. This is why I was already a gem then, with this experience. This is why when it became clear to me while living my Gen life, it was becoming clear to me that God is calling me towards something more special, something more beautiful. Immediately, after my graduation, I decided to come here. That was in 1988. Why did I decide to come here? Because I discovered that God is something more beautiful than that girl who I had a mutual relationship. I had a mutual rapport. We had mutual admirations for each other. Because God is more beautiful. Chiara continues, don't let your youth run away from you. And amid the tears of a life that's failed you, we'll have to say, late have I loved you. No? Sabi ni Chiara, huwag niyong sayangin yung pagka-youth ninyo sa mga bagay na lumilipas. Baka, at the end, sasabihin niyo sa sarili niyo, late have I loved you. No? Late have I loved you. O beauty, ever ancient, ever new. Ever ancient, it means the beauty that is God, that exists from the very beginning, and that also exists now, that fascinates, that calls. No. Still quivering with life, our blood is boiling within us. Our heart still beats and can still love. It can still prove its love by overcoming every hardship. No. And Chiara says, I love you now, my God, my all. I recall when I left and I was staying in the Jen house, and one day we went for a green day in the beach in Matabuntay. And we were more than 30 of us. We went there. And while everyone was enjoying swimming, I was under a coconut tree, looking far beyond the sea, and I started writing her name in the sand. Because it was a very strong experience of mine. But it was a period where God is teaching my heart. He was teaching me personally, telling me, look, what do you choose in life? As Chiara says, is this what you choose? The thing that is passing? Or the thing, or me, that I will not pass away? It is God. So God is teaching me that lesson. I love you now, my God, my all. Writing her name, thinking about her, I was not living in the present moment. I wasn't living now. I cannot love God now. What was it that I have to live in that moment? I should be swimming. I should be enjoying the moment in the beach with the Jen. And I cannot love the Jen because I was living for myself. But God is asking to love Him now. My all. And then Chiara concludes, command me now and I will do it. Your will is mine. I want what you want. Falling in love with God on earth means falling in love with His will. Until our souls, having lived in this divine service, will finally see Him and possess Him forever. No? So, again, falling in love with God on earth means falling in love with His will. No? So, I cannot say, I will fall in love with God tomorrow. I will fall in love with God the next day. Or next year na lang. No. Falling in love with God means doing His will moment by moment. No. To only want what He wants from me in every present moment. No. So, until when we are already used to doing His will, it means loving, it means doing cooking, it means laundry, it means cleaning the house, it means every present moment. So so the good news that we can tell others, God exists, live for Him. So this is the discovery of Chiara. Let us pause for a while and then let's try to have a moment of sharing.